Welcome back to the Spark Conversations, learning and growing together. Are you happy? I hope you are. In my case, I am very happy. It's been a period of me thinking, reading a lot, and also challenging myself and having conversations with people. And that sets the stage of what we're going to talk about today. This is a reflection on some of the videos that I've been watching, some of the conversations I've been having. Where do good ideas come from? Have you ever asked yourself that question? Or have you ever just contemplated where do good ideas come from? You deal with all innovations, Apple coming in with a phone, you have the amazing innovations, like for example, now you're talking about these AI technologies that are coming into the perspective. Somebody's delivering drone technology, medicines are being delivered with drones. How do these ideas come up? And who thinks of them and what makes them think of those ideas? And is it an individual person's idea? Or is it a series of conversations and ideas that actually ripple down to the point where somebody actually establishes a use case for that idea and that solution? These are questions that actually are interesting to have, but also they are kind of thoughts that keep you thinking. And you're like, okay, so if somebody came up with that idea, what can I come up with? Or probably, where do I need to get the ideas? I think that looking for the right idea is the wrong question to ask. I think it's more looking at which kind of communication strategies and networks do I need to be part of to learn, to get to challenge myself, to see the world from a different perspective. From those I've had conversation with and those who are reading my articles on the spark.co.ke, you already have an idea that I do write a lot and I do write a lot based on my reflections, but also my love for networking events and networking forums. The essence of it is, at times you don't even ask any question, you just listen to what people say. You join a conversation and you let people talk, you sup in ideas. Probably you'll get something in that you'll find value of, or maybe you'll ask a question, or somebody will ask a question that makes you think of something that you never thought would come into the picture. So those are the ways that we're getting good ideas. So I've been reading about how where good ideas come from, and it sparks from some of the work that I initially started off with incubation facilities, innovation labs, tech expos, hackathons, and all that. When I started agriculture, health, and social innovation, the challenge that I was contending with is that I was studying at Jomo Kenyatta University of Agriculture and Technology. I was doing my undergraduate in pharmacy. I came up with so many other ideas. Some of the things that I found were viable. One of them was using the biometric optical recognition system. And the essence of it is, by the age of 12 or thereabout, the iris configuration and pigmentation of your eyes will never change. So then we can use that as a unique identification marker. And in that case, then there's no risk of us having so many struggles at any point identifying people. And that was critically viable at that particular moment when I was thinking about it, because we had had a lot of insecurity incidences, the Al Shabaab attacks, the Westgate attack in Nairobi, Kenya. So there were all these security issues. And at that particular moment, a friend of mine was also one of the people who were bungled and taken into the National Stadium, Kasarani. So I was looking at how do we avoid such kind of things to ensure that police officers don't ramp up everybody. There's an easier way of just identifying you, whether you are not part of the criminal groups, gangs, or whatever. And that would be an easy way to go. But the other reason as to why I thought about these kind of ideas and I used to love these innovative spaces is, in JKUAT, we had the Tech Expo, which is a good idea in terms of giving people to come up with solutions and pitch them to probable investors and people who would fund them to scale them to the next level, which was amazing. And I still believe that is an amazing concept. But my worry kept coming from the point that we make a call once, and in that call, when we make that call, we're expecting people to already have ideas and have solutions that they would pitch, which is amazing. Some did pitch. So we had like 100 people pitching and submitting their applications at any one point in time. Out of the 100, we do the initial filtering and screening. We end up with 40, they're about 30. Then after the 30 to 40 that are screened to the next level, they get the incubation support. They're given the guidance and insights from the coordinating team. Out of those, 10 to 20 will be pitched during the Tech Expo, which is an expo where companies are invited to review, see what innovations are coming in, and probably adopt some of them for their business cases. So out of those 10, maybe one or two will be taken up by a company, or somebody would invest some relatively modest amount of money to help it scale or probably develop the prototype, whatever is needed. It's an amazing concept. But the question is, what happens to other 100? What happens to the 50, 40 thereabout who are in and actually only 2 get taken. So that is 98 that we've lost across the value chain. But the other question that is worth asking is, we had only 100. What if we could increase the number from 100 to 200 to 1,000? And what would make these only 100 people to get these good ideas and not the others? And in my case, one of the key questions and the key conversation that I've been trying to think around is, can we stimulate conversations and have people thinking and having conversation in different spaces? What would that look like? Probably it's just having these kind of networking forums where people get conversations, talk about their concepts, talk about amazing ideas that they've ever thought of, or even just hypothesize based on some ideas that come into your mind, abstract ideas. But in those abstract ideas, I don't think there's anything that is abstract enough that it has never existed, has never been thought of in any point of the world, or probably has never been encountered even in the science fiction movies that we do watch. So then, in people having conversation, coming up with ideas that amaze them, actually, that are challenging them, people find to build connections and shape perspectives. And those shaping perspectives, experiences, and drawing on knowledge that we've gained over a period of time set the basis for a conversation. And that conversation probably gives somebody an idea of a use case of that particular idea in another context. And that becomes a game changer for us. I know some of the work that has been done by most incubators is in inviting people, having them join sessions, have conversations, telling people about innovation. It's good to tell people about innovation. It's good to challenge them to be innovative. But unless they get the inspiration, unless they get to be in an environment where they experience world from other people's perspectives and ideas, I don't think that's going to happen. I've attended a couple of events. I've attended some of the innovation entrepreneurship labs and all. They're amazing for people who have ideas. They're amazing for people who are already clear on what they want. And therefore, you're getting into an ecosystem and finding your community and probably working on something that you already have. But unfortunately, also one of the gaps that I've seen in such spaces is most of the times people get into the entrepreneurship labs or whatever with a clear fixed idea of what they want to have, and therefore nobody is open to new ideas and new challenges and new conversations around things that other people just want to talk about. And that becomes a key barrier in terms of stimulating new ideas and new solutions. The other piece, we think of innovation from a tech perspective, but then we forget that we don't need to think about tech. The tech comes as the tail end, as an enabler for that innovation to come into perspective. So how do we spark ideas? How do we get these things? I think we need to have more communal settings, more conversations, probably have themed series of conversations. Just say, today we are going to talk about some of the failures that people have had, some of the human experiences, people narrating their stories. But from narration of stories and sharing of ideas and some of the key things that we've dealt with, that becomes a value proposition. And that value proposition sparks an idea in somebody else's mind. And that person then challenges it to the next person. Ultimately, we come up with an innovation that helps us unlock value. So do I propose that innovation incubation labs need to change? Probably, and I think they should. Not changing from what they're doing. I think whatever they're doing now is still working in terms of getting people who have ideas. But they need to change and create these networking mixers. And those mixers then become opportunities for people to talk. The difference is, I would be of the idea that they stop having conversation where people tell their stories about their innovation ideas. That could be one of the things that they do, but it should not be the core of what they're doing for the mixers, where people talk about their innovation ideas. It should be about human beings talking about human experiences, human journeys, and in so doing, then people can have conversations around so many things. Could be themed, but it can be themed without anybody at the top of the table having to share something on a podium. It's about giving people space to think, to interact, to network, to socialize, and to just be human beings. And in those being human beings, we suggest that people kind of actually just share reflections on what they've had. Probably an hour of networking and having conversations. Then the following 30 minutes is about everybody coming up with any idea, interesting thing they've had from somebody that they think could have had value in some way or something. That sparks the ideas. And probably we might get better ideas from that kind of conversation, stimulate more innovative concepts, and then ultimately being willing to take a risk on some of these ideas, because then unless we ever take them off to the next level, we might never see the light of day. And that becomes to the point of documentation. Most of our innovative ideas, most of our creative perspectives and thoughts never see the light of day. Why? because you're never so sure. But how do you get sure unless you throw the idea out there so that somebody can challenge it, somebody can share their perspective around it? Because that is how we cross pollinate ideas, that is how we stimulate thinking. We challenge yourselves, we give people an opportunity to challenge us and to critique our perspectives. And that is one thing that I would request for those of you who are watching this. Maybe critique this. Tell me what you think I say that doesn't make sense. And by you telling me that, probably I'll read more, probably I'll also come back with a rejoinder, and then we get better in the process. And on that note, I'll be glad to have conversation and see how do we spark innovation, especially around addressing social challenges and socioeconomic challenges. Some of the key things that are very critical for me is education. Education not for the sake of education to get a job, but education that is transforming the human experience, the human psychic. That would be good for me. The second piece is around healthcare. How do we make healthcare accessible and available to people, but not healthcare because we need to treat people who are sick? Healthcare about getting people and keeping people stay healthy as much as it can be. If that is good, good enough. If it can't happen, then how do we get the solutions that get people back to health when they are sick? I'd be glad to see such kind of ideas and conversations as we move the journey. The last piece, socioeconomic from a financial standpoint. How do we get young people meaningful employment, meaningful engagement in terms of career opportunities? If we are looking at training, can we train them on skills that actually we can create micro ecosystems, microeconomies where they can generate value, and that value then delivers ecosystem change in the market where we are operating. Offering a product to people who are willing to pay for it, and therefore giving this person a job, but offering this person a service, we are linking that ecosystem. Those are the kind of ideas that I'm thinking of. It can be anything or everything, either it's in agriculture, beauty and cosmetics, whatever it is, the cloth industry, art industry, fashion industry, whatever you're thinking of. If it can address some of the gaps, I'd be glad to have a conversation and see what that looks like. If you enjoy the conversation, subscribe to the channel, follow the conversation. Let's make the best of it. Thank you.